Hi, hello everyone. We're gonna get started with the first lecture. Yeah, some people might be coming in, but thank you guys all for coming to Figma Decal Lecture 1. We're super excited for the semester ahead, and yeah, we will get started. I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Katie. I'm a senior studying Cog Sci, and I'm the lead instructor for this class this semester. And yeah, so today is just kind of like an introduction to the course, and we'll be going over some staff introductions, an overview of the course, basic tools, general like what is design, and then kind of like wrapping up for what's coming this week. But here's the attendance link. So it'll be the same link every lecture. So you can just like save this link or write it down. And yeah. So I'll give you a moment to get that. And it only applies like if you're enrolled. If you're just auditing the class, you don't have to fill out the attendance form. But yeah. Lecture attendance is mandatory. You're allowed 2 unexcused absences, and if you have to miss for any reason, you can just like reach out to any of the core staff. Yeah. Oh, well, I'll get to that at the end. So yeah, keep it open until like the end of lecture, and then I'll tell you the secret word at the end, and then you can submit it. And then that's how you get marked for attendance. But does anyone need this still? Okay. And then this is also the link for this slide deck. This is also public on our Figma Decal community page on Figma. But yeah, this is so you can follow along at your own pace if you'd like, and then like click the links if you want. But yeah, these are also on our Figma page. But yeah, I'll just like do an introduction of our course staff this semester. So as I mentioned, I'm Katie, I'm the instructor. And then we have like 7 lovely TAs for this semester. One of them is here.
Hello, I'm Carissa. I'm a senior. I'm also studying cognitive science, and I'm a TA for a 10 a.m. section, I believe.
Yeah, so you should be assigned to your labs in our Slack. There's like subchannels that say like the name of your TA and the time, and they should be messaging you if they haven't already for this Thursday's lab. But yeah, stay tuned for that. If you're not in one, please let me know. But yeah, so and then also like our faculty advisor is Parin. He's like a design innovation professor, but yeah, and then Ace is like the one who created this class and made all of our curriculum. So yeah, we say thank you to Ace. But yeah, so we'll just continue with like a course overview, just like all the details and kind of like syllabus stuff. But yeah. Yeah, but like our goal for this semester and like you taking this course is just to become like more comfortable with using Figma, to be able to use it to pursue your own ideas. So we'll do like a lot of interesting examples and fun homework assignments, but the goal at the end is like for you to be able to use it in whatever way that you want to further your own passions or your career. But yeah. And we also just want to create like a really supportive creative community and have a lot of collaboration. I think like one of the best ways to use or to learn like a design software is to actually work on it, and doing so with others alongside you like helps you learn along the way. So yeah, there's also a lot of cool collaboration tools in Figma, which kind of separates it from like Adobe Illustrator and other tools like that. So yeah, we're hoping that you can just learn those things. And we have 2 of our other TAs here if they'd like to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is TK. I'm a 4th year studying cognitive science and design. Hi, my name is Eileen, 4th year outside. Same thing. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you. But yeah, and then also like some of you may or may not already have like a background in like design principles or like different areas of design, but we hope that you'll also like develop a sense for design using like more critical lens, and yeah, be able to give like critique and feedback to other people on both your designs and other people's. So yeah, here's kind of like the semester at a glance. So we're actually here, sorry, not the blue one, but Here's our first lecture, and then we kind of like list everything by like week 1, week 2, and then we have lecture on Tuesdays and then labs on Thursdays. And then like for Thanksgiving break, we don't have any class or lab. And then our last class is the Tuesday after that, and that'll be our final showcase. But yeah, this is 2 units, a 12-week course roughly. And yeah, we're starting with week 1. So yeah, weeks 1 through 6 will cover like most of the basic tools and then kind of like describing the different files. So we have Figma design files and FigJam, which is like more of a whiteboarding brainstorming tool, and then like fundamental design theory. And then after this like first half, we'll have the midterm project, which is it's kind of like a way for you to use the tools that you've learned and then translate it to something that you would actually do like in the real world. And then weeks 7 through 9, we'll do like more advanced skills, going into like components, prototyping, and vectors. And then these are like kind of the harder things to grasp in Figma, but with attending lecture and doing your labs and homework, hopefully it'll be more understandable and digestible. And then we'll also introduce the final project, which is like a very open-ended creative thing that you can choose what you do. And then yeah, after that, we'll kind of like go over some miscellaneous content as you're working on your final project, and then cover some interesting more like niche topics. But yeah. So again, overview, we have like lectures on Tuesdays where we cover like Figma dynamics and design theory, and then you have homework every week, or mostly every week. And those are released right after this lecture, which will be available on B courses, and that's where you submit. But they're linked to the Figma files, which you do your work on, and then you basically just submit the link of your file, if that makes sense. And then we also have readings like a few times in the first half. These are just kind of to help you if you don't have like any design principle background or idea of like general design theory. Yeah, these are to help you understand that a little more, and they won't be every week, but they'll be like every other week for a few times. And then you also have labs on Thursdays with a dedicated TA, and then a group of like 6 to 8 students that you guys can all kind of like work on together and go through practices and like get direct feedback from your TA. And yeah, those are all synchronous. So if you have like any complications with your lab, please reach out to your TA. If you can't make it, just let them know beforehand. We're understanding. So yeah. And then some logistics for our platforms that we use. So on Figma, we do have all of our resources available public. So all of our slide decks, all of our homework assignments, and our labs can be available there. So anyone can look at it, like if you're not even enrolled, or if you like want to look back at it after you've taken this class, stuff like that. And then there's also our Slack, which is our main form of communication. So you'll get all your updates and announcements on the course announcement page. And then every lecture at the end, I'll send like an overview of like the link to the recording, the slides, and then the homework and stuff like that. And then B courses is where you submit everything and get your grades basically. TAs will also be providing feedback on all your homework assignments, so you can get some more like criticism and yeah, guidance for your designs. But yeah. So now we'll like get into the actual Figma files and the workspace and stuff like that. So if you have your laptop, you can open Figma, and I would recommend like kind of just like looking around and following along, just so you can like familiarize yourself with the environment in Figma. But yeah. While you do that, yeah, so starting off with navigation of your file, it's very simple. Figma is generally like very intuitive, unlike like Illustrator or Photoshop. There's like limited tools displayed, so it's like very easy to understand what's there. And for like panning across your canvas, which is just like moving around to look, if you have a trackpad, you can just like use 2 fingers and scroll around. If you're using a mouse, you can hold Command or Control and like scroll to like zoom in and out. Or if you are like, you like the hand tool where you can just like click and drag, you can push H and that brings up the hand. or you can hold space and then like that temporarily has the hand tool. I would just recommend like scrolling with your trackpad though. That's probably the easiest way. But like that looks like if you have like push H, there's like a hand and then you can click and drag. Or if you hold space, it's the hand. But yeah, those are like not commonly used, I'd say. And then also for zooming in and out, you can just like pinch the trackpad to like zoom in, or you can hold like command or control and scroll. And then also if you push Z, if you hold Z, you'll see this magnifying glass. And if you like drag over a certain area, it'll like just zoom into that thing that you like made. And then you can also just push like the plus and minus signs to zoom in and out. But yeah, don't get like too worried about the specific ways to navigate because those are just like ways to get around, but do whatever works best for you. And then you have like the whole workspace of your Figma window. So there's like 4 main areas. Like your left sidebar is where all of your layers are housed. So you can see like, as I hover over each layer, it'll highlight on your canvas where those things are. If you have multiple pages in a file, then you can also see those there. And then assets are, you don't have to worry about those right now, but that's like where all your local components will be. Yeah, and then you have like your actual canvas, which is, you know, the meat of your file, what everything is on there. You can see it's like infinite, so you can make it as big as you want. And like one trick, if you do shift 1, it'll fit to like everything on your file, on your canvas can fit. And if you like select a frame or something and you hit shift 2, it'll zoom into that selected thing. Just some like tips and tricks. But then on our right sidebar, this is our design panel and prototype panel. So if you have like anything selected, this is where all of the details of like position, color, stroke, things like that will be, where you can edit them. So if I like make a rectangle, you know, I can like change the width of it or the height, or the color in this panel. And then on your top, you have like your toolbar, and this is where it's very simple. It has like your cursor, or you can change to like a scale instead of the regular move. And by the way, like the regular cursor, the shortcut is V. So if you're like ever doing anything, then you just like want to get back to the regular thing, just push V, and that'll get you there. And then next on the top, we have our frames, which looks like a hashtag. And then like shapes, pen tool, text, and then those are the important things. But yeah, that's the general workspace. And yeah, our canvas is like a completely open space where you have to view everything and work. And if you want to like hide your sidebars, you can do like command like /, then it'll get rid of like the side stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of already talked about this, but on your left sidebar, you have your layers and assets panel. So pages are like separated workspaces or separated like canvases, if you want to be like very organized with your work. And then yeah, layers are basically anything is its own layer, like a frame, a group, an object, components, stuff like that. Those are all layers. And then your assets is your components, which we haven't gone to yet, but yeah. Yeah, sorry, this is everything I talked about, but yeah, right sidebar, all the details for your design panel. This is where you can like edit the specific numbers of things if you want. There's even like corner radius and yeah, position and alignment. And then there's also the prototype panel that is connected to like the right sidebar. So you see it says design and prototype. If you hit on prototype, once you make connections, you'll see all of these like little arrows. And those are like animation interactions basically between things, but yeah, we'll get to that at another lecture. Yeah, and then our toolbar is there all the important tools that you need in one place. And yeah, so that's the Figma design files. And then there's also FigJam, which is something that Figma like released later in like 2021, but it's like a very simplified version of design files, and it's mainly used for like brainstorming and like collaborating. So for example, this is like our staff Figma file or FigJam file that we use to like prep for the semester. And you'll see like you can put sticky notes like and really quickly type things. And it like eliminates all the like choosing, I guess. So you can just like make it bigger, but like, you know, you don't have to choose a specific font size. Or you can do fun things like stamps. And, you know, if you're like collaborating on something, you can be like, oh, like I like that idea. And then there's a bunch of like fun widgets, which are really cool. But yeah, these are all kind of to help more of a collaboration tool in FigJam. Yeah, we'll go more into that in another lecture also. But yeah, so I'll talk about more of these specific tools like in your toolbar. And okay, don't click that link. Sorry, that doesn't work. But yeah, so the selection tool, that's like your main cursor. It does what you think it does. It selects things. And with this, like you're able to select anything and move it around. And yeah, the shortcut for this is V, and that comes in handy a lot of times when you're doing a lot of different things. And you'll know something is selected when it has like a blue box around it. So if I were to select like this text, actually it already has a blue box around it. Okay, this text, you'll see like the box with these like corners. So if you hover over the edge, you can like resize it. And if you go like a little outside the edge, you can rotate things. But yeah. You can also group and select multiple things at a time. So you can either like drag and select a bunch of things. So if I have like all these text boxes, if I just click and drag, you can select whatever you want. Or you can also hold shift and then select specific items that you want. And then all those things are connected. So once I select those, I can like manipulate those all together. Or if I want to keep them all together, let's say I want all these like titles to be together. Once I have all of them selected, I can hit Command G, and that creates one group. So no matter where I click off, these things will always stay together and move as one unit. And then you can also undo that with Command Shift G. But yeah, I think I said all of that. Yeah, so there's also like nested layers, which is just like layers within layers, and groups within groups. So that's all to say, like you could have a group and then like maybe you want to group these together and then like group both groups together. So you'll see like in your layers panel, you have a group of two groups. Yeah, that's what that means. Or you can also just like move things around manually in your layers panel. So if these like weren't grouped, then you can just like select them from your layers panel. Or if I just want to select all these frames, I think you get the idea. Yeah, so also for like moving things around, sometimes you want things to be like very precisely moved to the left or to the right or up and down. So if you select something and you want to move it, but like it's like you're a little shaky and like you want it to just be like very horizontal, then if you hold shift, while you move things, it'll keep it in like the horizontal line or in the vertical direction. So you can have like more precise, more stable movements. Yeah. Also duplicating layers, that happens a lot when you're designing things. So you can either like copy and paste the old-fashioned way, like copy, paste, and then it makes another one on top. Or you can select something and then hold Option and drag it. That will duplicate it like with the movement. So it kind of like gets rid of the extra step, I guess. And then also if you want to like duplicate something and keep it in line, you can hold Shift and Option, and then that'll just duplicate like directly, you know, in the horizontal or vertical axes. Yeah. Oh, also you can also do like Command D to duplicate, which is like the same as copy and paste, but you get the idea. Yeah. So also going along with moving things and guides to see like precisely how many pixels away something is. If you have an item selected and you hold down Option and then you hover over other items, you can see like this is 67 pixels above and 94 pixels to the left. And then like if while you have that, while you are holding Option and like hovering over that thing, you can use your arrows to like get it to the precise alignment that you want. Yeah. And you'll be practicing all of this in your lab, by the way. I know it's like a lot of random information, but yeah. Also for scaling, rotating, and flipping things, there's more shortcuts. Okay, so I have this text and I want to make it bigger, but if I just like use the regular selector tool, you'll see like the font doesn't change. And instead of like having to manually change the font of those, if you push K, this is your scale tool. So it'll take anything you have and like keep the proportions and it'll just scale the whole thing up and like change the numbers of like the font or like the stroke weight and stuff like that accordingly. So scale is like pretty useful for like just sizing things up, but you want it to look the same, especially with like vectors. It'll keep the proportions the same. Yeah, as I said earlier, like you can rotate by hovering over like the edge of a selected box and then doing that. If you want it to also be like more precise, you can hold Shift and that'll only rotate it in 15-degree increments. So if you want to go like purely like 90 degrees, then that's easier. And then, yeah, also for flipping things, while you have something selected, if you do Shift H, it'll like flip it across the like vertical axis. And then Shift V is like upside down. But yeah. Yeah, so I know I said a lot of like random shortcuts and stuff, but I promise it'll get easier with practice and actually like using these tools. You'll kind of like learn it a little better. But yeah, selection tool is always V. And if you want things to be precise, oh yeah. Oh, so it's like either command or control depending on like I think Windows is control like and then the same keys. But just different between control and command and alt and option. Yeah. But yeah, so if you want things precise, hold Shift. And if you want to copy things, hold Option. That's the summary. And then next I'll go into frames, text, and shape, which are like the key basic things to design things in Figma. And we're gonna join this file together. So you can either like type in this link on your browser, or if you're on the slides, you can push it, but it should take you to another Figma file that's called like lecture 1 demo. And this is where we will try out like all the tools that we just learned. And hopefully you should have edit access. And if you can't, let me know. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. It's bit.ly/fd-lec1-play. You guys should join the link. What? Yeah. As you enter the file, like go ahead and try out like making different shapes and stuff. I'll talk about it as we go, but can you guys all edit it? Okay, well, okay, it looks like you can. It's also very fun how you can see like everyone's names, and if you push like slash, you can like type something, it'll display like where your name usually is. And guys chill a bit maybe. Yeah, it looks like you're having fun. Okay. So I'll just keep talking, but you guys can like play around with the stuff as I say it. So yeah, a frame is like one exportable area by definition. So like all of these slides are frames, and like when you put something in a frame, like just like in a picture frame, it like you only see what the frame is like big enough to allow, if that makes sense. So if your frame is like just this rectangle, if you put anything in it, like anything outside of the bounds of that rectangle will not be seen, but it'll like still be inside of it. And yeah, a way to make a frame is like just F, and then you can like just size out any rectangle of the size you choose. Or if you push F, you'll also see that you have all these like presets on the right in your design panel. So if you're like designing an app and you want to use like, you know, the iPhone 14 Pro, you can make a frame that exact dimensions, and then it'll be up here. And then if you want to change it, you can go into your design panel where it says frame and then like change it to an Android small or whatever. And then yeah, there's also like MacBook size, Apple Watch, slides, letter size, like Facebook posts. The options are endless. So you know, you can have fun with that. Yeah, frames are also in your layers panel, always identified by like the hashtag symbol. That's how you know if something's a frame, and anything in that frame is like in the area that you can export, basically. Yeah, like I said, frames. If you want to like make a perfect square frame, just hold shift while you're making it. Yeah, and there's lots of default sizes you can choose from. Frames can also be nested, which is just like a fancy word to say like you can put a frame inside a frame. And yeah, these are like come in handy for more complex design, especially with like UI UX. And yeah. So there's also text. And this is pretty like straightforward. I'm sure you guys have all made like a text box before, like whether that be in Google Slides or like InDesign, whatever. It's kind of all the same. But T is a shortcut for text, and you can just like start typing. If you hit T, then you can, you know, type text. And then while you have your text selected, you can see in your design panel on the right in the text section, you can change to different fonts. You can change the font size. Sometimes fonts have different like variables or weights. And then you can also change like the leading and the kerning and stuff, and like the alignment of the text and whatnot. Yeah, these are just like a summary of all the text properties, which you're probably all familiar with. But you can also like manipulate the color, and sometimes different fonts will have like, oh yeah, you can like change the outline of the text, which is like the stroke, to different colors and such. Yeah, all those are in the design panel. Oh yeah, this is kind of old, but they used to not have like spell check in Figma, so you would never know if like your words were spelled right. And then there's also like lists that you can utilize. So yeah. So now we're on to shapes. There's lots of fun shapes you can do in Figma, and these are all like available in your toolbar at the top. So like the default one is a rectangle, but you'll see like there's lines, arrows, ellipses, polygons, and stars. And then like the number or the letters on the right are like the shortcuts for each one. So like rectangles are, and ellipse is like O because it's like a circle. But yeah, there's a lot of fun shapes. My favorite is like the star because you can make a lot of different kinds of shapes with it. So you'll notice like with most of the shapes, these like circle nodes pop up when you hover over it, like one on the point and like at the like inside corner and then like around the corner. So with these, you can manipulate like how many points there are, or like the ratio of like how pointy it is, or the corner radius to make it like less sharp and stuff. But yeah, lots of fun manipulations there. And then same with like the polygon. You can make different numbers of sides and stuff. Yeah, so you have like rectangle, circles, polygons, and stars. And then yeah, with each shape, you can change like the fill, so that's just like the color of it, and the stroke, which is like the outline, and also like the stroke weight, and if it's like on the inside or the outside. And then there's also like effects that you can do, And effects is like in the bottom of your design panel. So say I have this shape, you can add like a drop shadow or an inner shadow or a layer blur or a background blur. So layer blur is like the shape itself gets blurred, and then that's just like a number of how blurry. And then background blur is anything behind it. But yeah, drop shadows are very useful. You can change like the direction of it, and like the opacity of the shadow itself. For most of the numbers also in your design panel, if you like hover over like just to the left of it, you'll see this like horizontal arrow pop up. So you can like quickly slide to change the numbers instead of like manually having to change them. And then you can also change like blur. But yeah, those are effects. And you can also fill shapes with images. So yeah, this like kind of demonstrates it, but you can either like paste an image directly into your shape if you have it selected. You can just do like Command or Control V, or you can place an image using like Command Shift K or Control Shift K, and then you can tap anywhere on your canvas to fill it, or just like the plain old copy and paste an image from like your browser or wherever into your file. Yeah. Any questions so far? We've covered like a lot of tools, but anything yet? Are you guys having fun? Oh, wow. I see you've discovered the shapes. Very nice. Wow, snowman. So cute. But yeah, very fun with all the different shapes, and you can really utilize them for all of your designs, make them more unique. Oh, someone found the gradients. Slay. Okay, Brad. Love to see it. Whoa. Oh, that's Emily. That's so good. I was like, wow, so talented. But yeah. Slay. Yeah, so hopefully like you're having fun and like getting a little more knowledge about all the tools. But yeah, those like come with experience, I think, too. But yeah, so we've talked about a lot of like the mechanics and like more like tools of Figma, but now we'll like go into more design and like our thinking behind like what we make and stuff like that, and like why we're learning what we learn. But quickly, what do you guys think of when you hear like the word design? Can anyone like raise their hand? And it could be just like a word you think of, or like an example or something from your life. It could be like simple like art or whatever. But any ideas? Yeah.
Design is all around us. It's in like everything that we use.
Mhm.
It's like experience everything that we use is literally designed. It's like tangible or visual art.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of a perfect answer. But anybody else? That's okay. That was like actually like what we're gonna say anyway. But yeah, design is like everywhere all around you, and it's like a lot of different things. But some things that we like to talk about related to design, and why like it's important in our lives. It's like design is problem solving. So a lot of the times, we identify things that don't work very well, and we want to come up with a solution to those things, and that itself is design. Sometimes it's just form and aesthetic. So, making things very pretty, and just like expressing yourself and expressing it. Oh yeah,
Does this automatically save?
the file.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Everything does automatically save. And if you're offline, I believe it like saves locally, and then like when you go online again, it'll be there. Also, side note, there's also like a Figma app for like mobile. So you can't like do specific design things on the app, but you can see like your files, and then if you like prototype things, you'll be able to present it. But yeah, things autosave. And then yeah, sorry, design is also storytelling. It's understanding like things as part of like space, time, and experience. And then it's also empathy and community, working with not just for something, but to create something meaningful and like make an impact. But yeah, like our lovely volunteer. Wait, what's your name?
Kristen.
Kristen, thank you, Kristen. Like Kristen said, design is everything. It's like every object that you've encountered, every like class you've taken, everything that you've made or like created, that is design, and you were a designer in that. And yeah, anything that is like created with a specific purpose, whether that be like something functional and something to fix something, or just like aesthetic and it looks nice. Everything on that spectrum has like been designed by someone or something, and yeah, it's everywhere. So yeah, these are like a lot of subfields of design. A lot of things you're probably familiar with, like architecture, fashion, game design. But there's even like sound design and like information design, publication. But yeah, design is just like a giant sphere of like just creating things basically, or fixing things. Yeah, and here are a few like design methodologies that like most people like follow or talk about. So there's like human-centered design, which is like more creating solutions for challenges that kind of like help solve like user needs or human needs. And then there's also like accessible universal design, which is kind of like prioritizing accessibility and usability for people within like a target audience. And then equity-centered community design, which focuses on equity, history, and healing, power dynamics, and that sort of thing. But yeah. So within the scope of our class about Figma, we'll learn to use Figma as a tool for design. And even though like Figma is like primarily a software used for UI UX design and like making like interfaces and stuff like that, it's really like a tool that you can use for anything, whether you be like a UX designer or just like an illustrator or just someone who like likes to make games or just fun looking things. Yeah, you can use these tools to do like whatever you want really. And yeah, basically whatever you can come up with, you can do. And then we'll also just like hope that you get a like a good foundation in design theory and methods. So that's why like most of our lectures will be talking about Figma as a tool for design, and then also like the theories and methodologies behind why we design, which is like equally as important for learning the concrete skills, I guess. But yeah, any questions so far? Okay. Yeah, we're kind of like wrapping up our lecture a bit early, but I'll just go over like some announcements and like our assignments. So yeah, if you don't know already, there's also like a Figma desktop app that you can use on your laptop. It's also like can be used entirely in your browser. It's kind of like whatever you prefer. Some people like using the desktop app just because it's like separate from your browser, and like you can keep like the window open, and I think there's more like flexibility with using it, but that's up to you. And yeah, you can just like download that off the internet. But yeah, there's also our Figma community page on the Figma app itself, or like on the Figma website, but this is where all of our resources are again. So all these slides, homeworks, and labs you can look back on, or like get a sneak peek forward if you want. Yeah. So then for this week, our first homework assignment is creating these trading cards. So you'll be making like your own personal trading card. And you just like find this file. It'll be linked on the B courses assignment. But it's also like in our paid community page, but you'll just duplicate it. And then we have some like templates, but you can use full creative freedom, make it however you want. And yeah, it's up to you, but create something that represents yourself and tell us a little bit about you, but hope you can learn some of the tools that you learned today. Yeah, and then for your labs on Thursday, these are just like getting more familiar with like the navigation and selection tools. So we have like a little playground where you can like just learn to navigate your file and stuff like that. It's very fun. There's a little picnic game thing, but yeah. And we come to the end. So our secret word will be something that Carissa chooses.
Meow.
Okay, our secret word is meow. So type that in your attendance form and then you can submit it. That's crazy. The secret word is meow.
I hope they know how to spell it.
Yeah?
Did you see my masterpiece?
No. Oh, yeah? Oh, sorry. Let me put that up one more time. Here's the attendance form. Yeah, if you missed it in the beginning, here's the attendance form. It's the same for every lecture. Just like select the right date on it and then fill in the secret word.
Wait, actually. So we just like go analysis. Yeah, the color.
Are they gonna try to color?
Yes. No, it'll be wherever your lab TA says, usually like in a meeting room in like a library. I'm not teaching a lab. I think we had 2 7 p.m.s though. Yeah, they'll text you.
Wait, I'm sorry, is the homework gonna be posted on B courses or on Notion?
So oh, not the Notion. It'll be like you submit it on B courses and the link to the Figma file where you work on is on B courses.
Okay.
So you work on Figma, but then submit the
Okay.
link of your file.
Yeah, as
on
long
B
as I can,
courses.
okay, so if it's on B courses, I can access.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. Thanks for asking.
I don't think you can answer.
Yeah, it's due like a week from today. Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah.
Recorded.
Yes, they are.
Awesome. Okay, and they will be in the Slack, right?
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
send it after
sounds
this.
good. Thank you.
Of course. But yeah, that's kind of it. That wraps up today's lecture. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me on Slack or any of the other course staff. But yeah, thank you guys for coming and go to your labs. It's on Thursday, but I will switch it like before then. Yeah. But you can go to the 11th. Let me see. Did you look at did you try this link?
No, I just came in a bit late, so I don't.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you type that in. Yeah.
I never got the email.
What's your name?
I just got the Slack invite.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, let me double check that real quick.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, sorry. You should have gotten the email, but maybe check your spam. Yeah, I think. If not, though, I can send that again to you.
Oh my gosh, it was in my spam. I'm so sad to pay $10.
Oh,
It's okay.
for the enrollment, you mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't the deadline on Friday?
Oh, really? Okay, I thought it was last week.
Oh, that's for like early drop.
Okay,
So you should be good.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
This is the regular drop is this Friday. The early drop was last Friday. But yeah, I know it's over.
Yeah. By the way, amazing lecture. Learned a lot.
Oh,
Thank you
good.
so much for it.
Thank you.
I have a question. So I was interested in seeing like how like, do you have any tips on like how to go from like designing stuff in Figma to like like converting that to like a website or something like that?
Like developing a website?
Yeah, so I kind of joined this course because I was interested in building SaaS applications.
Okay.
And so like I'm great at like coding stuff, but I suck at like picturing the thing in the first place.
Yeah.
So I just end up with really crappy HTML pages that look like shit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I wanted to try to see if I could like maybe use this course to kind of help with that.
Yeah,
Do you have
yeah.
any tips on like what to do during the course that might be able to like maybe give me like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think just like if you're worried about like your design element of like your work, is that what you mean? Like,
Yeah, like
you know, all
design
the
and then like
coding.
converting that design. Converting
Yeah.
can be another question, but like even designing it in the first place is kind of
Yeah,
challenging.
most of our, so like all of our projects, like the midterm and the final, they're like open-ended, so you can do whatever kind of project you want. Like if that be like more like web or app based, like you could design that, and then like that could be something that you'd like to develop in the future. And then also in Figma, there's like, I don't know if you've heard of like dev mode, but basically like they provide a lot of the like
Oh, like you
code.
can export the HTML and CSS down.
Yeah. So like for example, like for this frame, if I like turn on dev mode, basically it'll like give you the code for some stuff. I'm not like a developer, so I'm not completely sure if this is that helpful, but there's also like plugins that you can use for like Webflow and stuff. Like if you make your designs in Figma, it'll like convert that to, you know, like a programmed website. Sorry, I don't know how helpful I can be with this area.
I think that's
but-
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just like suggest
yeah.
gearing your projects towards something that like you would actually build. That might help you like getting in the design sphere of like for the kinds of things that you do.
Okay.
That makes
Do you
sense.
have like if anyone's like walked down this path before, do you know if like there's any like resources on like YouTube that might be like good to go along with this?
That's a good question.
Okay, this might be a little bit.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
No, you're good. But these are good questions. Yeah, I am like personally come from like a graphic design background, so I'm not sure about that. But like, there's definitely resources on YouTube that you can find. I'm sure.
Is there any place on the community I can ask these questions?
Yeah. So on our Slack, actually, we have like other channels, like general or random, that you can like just ask like anything really. And like a lot of people just reach out. These are all old things, but like you can just reach out, and I'm sure like other people would be interested too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks again, and thanks again for creating this amazing community.
Oh, thank you. Glad you could join us. What's your name?
I'm
Ansh?
Ansh.
Okay, I'm Katy. You know.
Nice to meet you, Katy.
Nice to meet you. Are you a student?
I'm a junior.
Oh, okay. Wow, cool. And do you want to go or like what's your major and stuff?
I want to take a wild guess.
See ya. Eeks.
Eeks.
Oh, okay.
The glasses and beard.
No, it's okay. I mean, that's like most of people at Berkeley, so you're not too bad. Yeah.
Thank you, Katy.
Thanks. I'll see you next lecture.
Next lecture, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a lab?
Oh, there is. I won't be there, but like you should go. Yeah, go to your lab. and then I'll see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh shit. Basically,
You have 415? I have 415. It's also 8.
okay, wait, I'll